Xin chào, my friends. It is Atticus, and welcome to the Vietnam Chronicles. I am making this video because it seems like me and good old Ninja Teacher are competing for who has the newest video when it comes to teaching in Vietnam. I wanted to give you guys and continue to give you guys a counter perspective to what I believe is not the best approach to when it comes to teaching. So, yeah, I'm going to give you guys some pros, some cons, and a few other things that I haven't talked about when it comes to teaching. So, first things first, I want to get this out of the way. You do not need to pay thousands of dollars through a company like Ninja Teacher or any of these other, companies that you're seeing on YouTube. So if you type in teaching in Vietnam 2023, you're going to see me, you're going to see Ninja Teacher, you're going to see a few other people. Trust me, you do not need their services. What they do is, he was probably a teacher, started his own business, has connections, lives in Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi and all that. They put you in a little school, a little academy, and they run you through the course as if it was some kind of college thing. And then they'll put you in a job through their connections. Yeah, I mean, you'll probably get a job, but you're going to pay 10 times, 15 times more than what is required. A TEFL is not that hard. It is not. That's just the truth. And no matter what they tell you, it's not necessary to be an English teacher. I am living proof of that. I had very few teaching experience. I had no foreign teaching experience when I did this, and I was able to self-teach myself through online TEFL graduate. So I want to really make that clear with you guys. I don't have the fancy production value. I don't have people that I can sit here and get testimonials. But you could look me in the eyes and judge it for yourself if you think I'm lying. If you have a bit of discipline, if you're self-reliant, if you really believe in yourself, you could get a TEFL for $100 and something. And also, towards the end of this video, I will remind you that I do have a partnership with a TEFL company, an online one, for those of us who prefer to do things, are more self-reliant and prefer to do things on our own. So, with that being said, look, I'm not going to hate on the guy for having a hustle, and I'm not going to hate on you if you prefer being with a group of people, going out to a tier 1 city, which is a huge city like Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi or wherever, they're sending them, staying in an expat bubble. So, you're going to stay around people who speak English. You're going to stay around other Westerners. You're going to stay around Vietnamese who are used to being around Westerners. You are not going to get the true Vietnamese experience. Why are you coming here if it's just to stay in a safety net? If it's just to get an unauthentic experience of what it is to teach here, to live here, to embrace Vietnamese culture? The magic of this place is life-changing. The way that it will change your worldview, change you as a person, the way that it will just open your eyes to just how, for one, different cultures live, for two, how the Vietnamese live, and for three, it will change a lot of preconceptions you might have about yourself, your place in the world, your self-value. You're not going to learn that staying in these little expat communities or Vietnamese people who are used to just catering to Westerners. You need to be bold. You need to go to the places on the map, anywhere on the map in Vietnam. There is villages, there are cities and towns that need English teachers that care, who aren't here to go get drunk every night, aren't here to flex on YouTube and look how cool I am. But actually really care about teaching, who really care about experiencing a new culture. I recommend a tier 3 city. Tier 1 would be like Ho Chi Minh City. Tier 2, maybe something a little bit smaller. Tier 3 would be something like Lao Cai, which I am presently in. Tier 4 would be your hardest challenge. And where I teach at is Lao Cai. You're not. There might, as of right now, I know maybe 3 Westerners in the whole city, and I know one. The other I've just seen. I have no idea who they are. There's been times I've been the only one. I am the only American, as far as I know, in the city right now. You will see backpackers going to Sapa, so they might like pass through. But I go places and no one is speaking English. I go places and I might be the only Westerner, pretty much every cafe I go to. But you learn to love that. You learn to embrace that. You learn to appreciate that, because you get to feel a different side of maybe what it's like to be on the other end of, of being, an outsider or not fitting in, and what that feels like. And it really gives you a useful perspective that, for me, has, I don't know, it's really made me, it's really made me a better person, a stronger person, a more independent person. And I recommend that you try that. So, with that out of the way, let's talk about, since, he uses the YouTube algorithm, and just for, any of you people who like to use YouTube, things like pros and cons or top 10 lists and stuff like that, when you put that in the title of your YouTube or in your description, it puts you on the top of the algorithm. These are little cheats that you'll learn as a YouTuber. So let me do something similar, okay? So we will do a pros and cons of teaching in Vietnam in the year 2023. So, and I'm going to do mine through the perspective of doing it by yourself, not with a little safety bubble of other foreigners, not through the safety bubble of Ninja Teacher or these other companies, but by yourself. Now, when I say by yourself, you're still going to need a school who will sponsor you, who's going to help you get your work permit, your visa. But I mean by yourself, and you'll need a recruiter. But I mean by yourself in the sense that you'll get your own TOEFL, you'll apply for your own jobs, you'll submit your own documentation. You will not pay thousands of dollars to do something that, if you would just apply yourself a little bit, you will do on your own. And you could come back and thank me, like, hey, that extra, $2,000 you saved me, I was able to get a really nice apartment, or not only that, just the confidence that it will build. So let's start with some of the pros of teaching in Vietnam, as in 2023. First thing I'm going to say, some of my favorite things about it has been that I am an outsider. Every interaction and aspect of my time in Vietnam is seen by either not understanding the language fully, not understanding a lot of the traditions. Even though I'm learning, I've been embraced by several friends and family, my work and stuff like that. But still, you become like it's like the perks of being a wallflower, pretty much. You get to study people. You get to be on the outside and really observe and learn a lot. And it's like being that fly on the wall, for example. And when you do, one of the exciting things is when you do learn Vietnamese, keep it to yourself. Keep it a secret. That way, when people are talking in little groups, you'll know. So if some girls like you, or or a boy likes you, well, boom, you might know. Or if some people are talking bad about you, well, then you might know. Or if they're talking about giving you a raise, negotiations on how much they're going to pay you. Knowledge is power. So be careful how much of that you give. So yeah, you're going to be an outsider. That is not a bad thing. That is not something to be scared of. Another pro is that you are going to be challenged if you come and do it in a tier 3, tier 4 city. If you stay in Hanoi, if you stay in Ho Chi Minh City, if you stay in these other, big cities where there is thousands of, Americans and Canadians and Germans and South Africans and people who speak English, you could go to entire parts of the city where it's just foreigners. Restaurants just dedicated to foreigners. To Westerners, so Western food, Western music, Western atmosphere, only speaks English. Why would you want that? Why did you come here to stay in that safe little bubble, just to never take a chance. And one of my friends, her name was Katie, when I first came out here, and I was, green behind the gills, new. She told me that, there's two different kinds of teachers when it comes to Vietnam. There are the ones that will never leave the safety of the familiar. And that is, I would say, the people that you'll find in these tier 1 cities. And I'm going to say it one more time. The kind of jobs and schools that Ninja Teacher and places like that will probably put you in. You're never going to be too dependent. You're never going to be on your own. You're never going to be, you're always going to be around the familiar. And then there's teachers like me, like her, like possibly you, the ones who are not afraid to go somewhere where you might be the only person who speaks English. You might be the only person of your ethnicity, of your nationality, I should say. You might be the only person of your background, of your religion. I mean, you could be a Muslim or a Christian, a Jew. I mean, and you might be the only person who practices that religion. You might be the only person who shares a certain hobby, for example. Like for me, racing motorcycles is really big for me. But where I'm at, there is no big motorcycles. There is no demand for, CBR 600s and R1s and Suzuki Gixxers and all that. So finding my bike was a real treat. I was really lucky. The stars aligned. So yeah, that is a benefit. It is exciting. What that means is that when you are in that situation, you have no idea what every day is going to be like. Every day is going to be something new. Every day is going to be a chance for growth, and you will grow. My God, if I could just go back and watch my videos 2 years ago, I was maybe 70 pounds, weighed 70 pounds heavier. I was scared out of my mind. I was, very nervous. Now I feel like I could literally go to any country in the world and do the same thing that I've done here. And the things that I've overcome, the things that I've achieved, the level of rapport that I've made with both, some of the people in Lao Cai, in Sapa, my students, is some of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my life. And I'm a military veteran. And even, besides that, this is the greatest challenge and most fulfilling challenge and more rewarding challenge, because I didn't have to pay thousands of dollars and have somebody to hold my hand to do it. I did it. And I have that bragging rights. And just like my friend Katie said, there is a special kind of teacher, and I and you, if you choose it, will fall under that. And other teachers, the ones who play it in Ho Chi Minh City, the ones who play it in Illinois, the ones who are going to Starbucks every day, they're going to admire you. They're going to look up to you because you are, the rare teachers. You are the 1%, the 2%. You are the exception to the rule. So you do get some kind of you do get a bragging status. You can flex a little bit if you do come across people like that, because they're going to be wondering, what is that like? What's that like being on your own, or what's that like this and that? And it gives you an edge. Not to mention when it comes to job hunting, if you say that you do your time, 3-4 years in a tier 3, tier 4 city. And the thing is, too, you got to keep in mind is, in a lot of these big cities, you're helping rich kids. That's the truth of it, right? There's a lot of rich kids in Ho Chi Minh City. Not all, but Hanoi. But a lot of these academies will cater to that. But what about these tier 4 cities that could really use a good teacher? Somebody who really cared. Somebody who would give them a quality education. I mean, you could give some of these kids an opportunity and a chance, and be an inspiration in their life that a lot of these kids in these tier 1 cities like Ho Chi Minh City take for granted. You could be, that pebble in the river that splits their life into a whole different direction. That inspiration that one day that they split the atom. So I mean, you truly change lives as a teacher, but you can also change lives where it's most needed. So that is a pro, another pro. Not only are you helping others, you're helping yourself. So when it is time for you to get another job, say you want to move to a different country, or say that you just want to move to a different city in Vietnam, when you tell them, hey, yeah, I've been off in these rural parts of Vietnam, automatically they're going to know. And he's, or she, you're dependable, you're independent, you're self-reliant, you're not going to need your hand held, you're not going to be scared because you can't find, latte coffee with soy milk. You're not some entitled, spoiled Westerner, which a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of Vietnamese do not like. They see Westerners as entitled, rude, lazy, a sense of entitlement would be the best way. But the ones that kind of come out here and you go out and you live, among the Vietnamese, you live as part, of the Vietnamese. You live in the same kind of homes and you eat the same food. You go to the same market. There is no huge grocery stores. There is no fancy, gaming places and malls and stuff like that. You could go to that, take a bus ride, and go visit it. It's like you're cut off from the world. But no, you will live the Vietnamese lifestyle. And because of that, you will gain a deeper understanding of what it is to be Vietnamese, what it is to be a guest of Vietnam, Vietnam's history, Vietnam's culture. It is just, you can't put a price on that kind of knowledge. And I've been blessed to not only have a special relationship with, I want to keep, some things vague in my personal life, but special relationship with somebody who has really taught me so much things about Vietnam and about the culture of it, the traditions of it, and stuff you just will not learn in your expat bubble. Another advantage is going to be the cost of living. So tier 3 cities, tier 4 cities, the rural parts, it's going to be so much cheaper. You're not going to have to you're not going to have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to try to make ends meet. And don't get me wrong, you could live in a tier 3 city or a tier 4 city and still get luxury. I mean, you could still live a luxury life when it comes to like an apartment. Like my apartment is no slouch. It's a good apartment. It has, wall-to-ceiling windows. It has a nice AC unit. I have a high-speed internet. It's perfect for one person. It has a security guard at the gate. There's a little playground. There is a gym and a swimming pool, but you do have to pay for that. But yeah, the cost of living is going to be a lot lower. And another thing too is that what was I going to say? Oh, the food choices. The food. You're going to get not only just the language, but the food quality is going to be so much, like a hot pot, for example, or a banh mi, are going to be truly better than what you get somewhere in like these, southern or tier 1 cities. I feel like my thing's lagging here. Hopefully, okay, there it goes. The food quality is going to be better because you're actually going to be, invited into, places where you sit on the ground and hot pots are made and fresh ingredients, and you go to the market every morning and you pick what you want, and it's just magical. Okay, so another pro is the schools. The schools are going to be a lot smaller. So if you're a first-time teacher coming out to one of these tier 3, tier 4 country rural parts of Vietnam, means that you're going to have smaller class sizes. My class sizes, I have classes that are like 3 students sometimes. I have classes that are like maybe 12. I think the max I've ever had is like 13. Like there's no teaching 40 kids. Now I've went to public schools as a guest teacher and done that. That's different. But if you're talking to like language academies and things like that, so less stress, less learning curve. I mean, it is a lot easier for you if for one, if teaching, okay, 2 different ways. If teaching is not your main objective, say that you're just being honest, you just want to come here because you want to live in Vietnam. Well, this is not going to have the highest demand on you as maybe somewhere like, Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi. I say those two cities a lot because those are where the majority of teachers like to go. Halong Bay, or, there's another one, Dalat, Da Nang, places like that. You're going to have smaller class sizes. The quality of education will be just as good, but the demands on you are going to be less, which means that you can put more effort, if you want, into teaching your students, into doing extra things for your students. Maybe getting them Pokemon cards, which is something I like to do. Stickers, playing different games, taking them for field trips. I actually take my students to Mixiu, I think that's how it's pronounced. It's a Chinese-based ice cream company all around Vietnam, and there's one right by my school. So, yeah, that is another pro. Since we're at 21 minutes, I guess I'll get to some of the cons of living here. Just to be fair, some of the cons is like, look, you're not going to be able to see IMAX movie theaters. And if you look at my wall, it's full of movie posters. That is something that I adore, is watching movies. Opening night. And I just saw Flash. A couple days ago, I drove a luxury bus to Hanoi to see The Flash. And it was amazing. But, some of these cities aren't even going to have movie theaters. Or if they do, they won't be in English. They won't play English movies. Luckily, Lao Cai has one theater with one screen that's probably like 50 years old. And if you're lucky, sometimes you can catch an English movie. You're not going to have you're not going to have a big grocery store, a big grocery store. You're not going to have a supermarket. You're not going to have there's not places where you could go just to get one thing. Like there's no luxury clothes. Okay. You're going to do a lot of shopping, a lot of online shopping, or you're going to take a bus ride to the big city once a month when you have, get paid, buy a couple new outfits, and then go back to your home, your original city. So that's what I do. I came here with a few outfits. I lost so much weight that all my clothes became way too big. So all the places here, none of it's my style. Vietnamese style when it comes to casual is not how I dress. I don't wear logos. I'm against wearing anything that has a logo on it. You'll never catch me with an Ed Hardy, or the only thing you'll ever catch me is my dog tags. But yeah, a lot of Vietnamese casual clothes is all about symbols, or having like a Nike sign or something like that. That's just not the way I dress. I'm very particular about the way that I like to dress. Very 90s grunge, you could say. So, yeah, there is going to be inconvenience when it comes to needing new clothes, or if you want to find a new tablet, computer, phone. You're not going to find a PlayStation here. Entertainment-wise is going to be a little bit DIY, do it yourself, or do it yourself. DIY, yeah, do it yourself. There we go. So you need to be prepared to, either bring, books, or get your new Netflix on, or do what I'm doing. Take language classes, paint. I mean, look at my door, for example. There's some of my art right there, right? Look at my wall right here, full of all these cool movie posters and stuff. And I just got my new Spider-Man, my new Flash, my new Transformers, and things like that. So you're pick yourself up some new hobbies. The big one for me, if you've watched anything about my channel, is motorcycle rides, because out here